planning and preparation is key. So I love Stephen Covey's work on to begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you're going so that you better understand where you are now and what steps you take are always in the right direction. Wouldn't we love to know we've taken the right steps in the right direction? So who to ask, what and when. And this is an example of our accountant, because that's where you start. Because most people start at realestate.com, look at a few properties, think they should invest, then come to us as a mortgage broker for a loan. But it's all the wrong way around. They really need to start with your accountant. You need to know before you come to us, whose name should the title be in? What is the structure you're going to need? Tax deductions and renovations. If you're going to renovate, how can you maximise what you're going to claim before you begin? Do you do it after you've put a tenant into the property, or should you start straight away, and at what stage should you do what? What's your budget for it? And you need to have your budget organised well before you come even to us. You need to know what you've got spare in your account every month so that you can apply to how much am I prepared to spend to invest. You know, it's tricky. And what effect will depreciation have? So it's really important you get all of that sorted before you begin. So you've got an actual plan. And if your accountant does not do property investing themselves, you need to find one who does, or who takes good advice from the right people. And we highly recommend getting advice from Bantax, BANTACS. They have, Julia Hartman is just purely research, and her team around the country are all accountants who are heavily into property investing, and they have advice for people. And I highly recommend you discuss your wants and needs with them. She has a massive information on her website. If you've got a question, you can just ask it off the website. So go and have a look and see what you can find. And you'll probably go, oh, that answers that, or I should have thought of that, or I should have known about that. Too often people make decisions on property and do stuff, and then afterwards it's too late. You know, we've already got Bantax. I'll put it in the chat so hopefully everyone can see it. I'll just put that in. It's www.bantax.com.au. Okay, try them. They're very good for that sort of thing. So next, deposits. So where do you get your deposit? Well, the common thing is equity. It looks from this slide that, you know, we've got your house is just, for example, valued at 400, your mortgage is 280, so you've got equity of 120. You can't borrow 100% of the property, all right? Generally, for an investment, you only want to borrow up to 80% against your home, because otherwise you'll be paying lender's mortgage insurance. Is everyone aware of lender's mortgage insurance? Yep, so when you borrow over 80% of the value of the property, you'll pay lender's mortgage insurance. Sometimes, depends on your circumstances, that can be avoided, but more often than not, that will be applied. People sometimes, regularly come to me and go, oh no, Louise, I borrowed 100% of that investment property. I go, no, you didn't. You did back in 2008, if that's when you bought it, because back then, amazingly, the banks used to let us borrow at 105% of the property. But not since a long time. Since the GFC, none of that has been happening. So what has happened is they've borrowed against your home and the investment property, and it seems like it's a loan against the investment property, but it's not. It's against two properties. And that is what's called cross-securitization, and we generally try to avoid that. So what we would do is actually get you a separate loan so that the loans are not cross-secured. Another way to get your deposit is cold hard cash, which is lovely if you've got it. And finally, people sometimes withdraw from their owner-occupied home loan. Now, that can be fine, and your accountant can work out for you the percentage of interest that's applicable to the investment as opposed to the owner-occupied portion. But sometimes the ATO will not be thrilled with that arrangement and may deny the tax deductibility of that portion of the loan. So rather than have that as even a threat, we actually usually separate and create a separate loan with its own account number, even though it's against your home, for the deposit, so that it's separate and you can identify that that's the tax deductible portion because that's what's going to be used for the investment.